was a typo, and I'm like, welcome to Amazon Answers, and my camera is screwed up. Give me one moment. And we're back. So today I wanted to do a little Q&A because one of the things that I've been like requested to do Q&As on for like a while was the announcement of the DCU Wonder Woman movie in development, and people wanted to know like what I thought about the costume, who I would cast, and all that stuff. So I figured I might as well just do a Q&A where you guys can ask me those questions about whatever you want concerning the DCU Wonder Woman. So why don't you guys just drop your questions in the chat? I'll even be discussing what stories I think should be covered in the DCU Wonder Woman, like what they should base it on, what runs they should look to for inspiration. There's like a lot that we can get into. So let's get started. You guys can start dropping your questions in the chat, and then we can get this crazy train rolling. Because I've got some thoughts about this and everything like that. First off, about damn time that we got an announcement of a Wonder Woman movie, because we've seen like so many different like announcements like Creature Commandos, Peacemaker season 2 and all this stuff, and now finally we're getting a Wonder Woman announcement. Yeah, maybe you should have prioritized Wonder Woman. But quick thing, just because Wonder Woman got announced now does not necessarily mean it's gonna come out later, because here's the thing. At least the way it seems with Gunn, he's prioritizing which movies and screenplays and such are ready. So if the DCU, like let's say Wonder Woman movie is ready before like Batman, it won't, just as a crazy example, that will come out before Batman. So it's more like first come first serve, which then the loose structure of the DCU kind of helps, because you can make those adjustments on the fly in order to like determine, okay, so which ones should we be prioritizing, which ones come out first, and all that stuff. So yeah, so let me know what questions specifically you have, what graphic novels I think should be based on, whatever you guys would like to get cleared up, because I'm here to answer all of your questions regarding our favorite Amazonian princess and her world, obviously. So let me know. By the way, what is a good purchase that you can should check out to get an idea is this 75th anniversary set of graphic novels, because what this has is like the first trade of, let's see, it's got the first trade of Perez, Rucka, Simone, and Azzarello, and that gives you a good foundation as like who the character is throughout the different years, and you can like take whatever you want from that. But personally, if they really want to like impress me, I would use Greg Rucka as the inspiration, like his first run, not the Rebirth run, that one's trash, but in terms of his first run, because what this does is in the very beginning, it establishes like the balance between Wonder Woman being a diplomat, Wonder Woman being a warrior and such. And it basically provides a good window into her world for like new people to just hop right back on. So Greg Ruck is my first. Obviously, Perez is going to be the GOAT and the one everyone's going to go for, but that's beyond the point. But what other like questions do you guys have regarding DCU's Wonder Woman? Because there's so much that we could talk about, so much it could be based on. There's a lot we got to talk about. So let her rip, ladies and gentlemen. Any particular questions that you guys have that you think are beneficial, or anything that you guys want clarification on, what they could do, whatever you guys want. Let me know. Any graphic novels, or let me ask you guys, what do you think they should use as like a model for the DCU's Wonder Woman? What runs, what characters do you think need to show up in the first movie? If they should replace this with like Paradise Lost or whatever you guys think you would like to see. Hey, what's up, Julian? How you doing? Whatever you guys would like to see about the DCU's Wonder Woman, because I am here to answer all of your questions. And who knows, maybe someone at DC is watching right now, and they can go off of this. And I can go, guess what, guys? Maybe you want to go off of what we want to see. I don't know. How fearful should we be that Tom King seems to be in the office of DC Studios? Yet again, he's gotten. Now, here's the thing, Brandon. With that, it's about a double-edged sword, because the more that he gets involved with the movie side, the less he gets involved in the comic side, because he only has enough like mental energy for like one of those to a degree for so much projects. So, and because when he was on my friend Robert's channel, he even said that he took on way too much. He shouldn't have taken on the Trinity book. Oh, I mean, we agree with that, but he shouldn't have taken on with it because he's doing so much with the movies. So my like feeling is that the more he gets involved with the movies, adapting his projects, the less he can do with Wonder Woman. So maybe that leads to him taking a sabbatical from Wonder Woman and saying, okay, I gotta not prioritize. Let me go with this, because if he does like Elseworlds, he can like it's a lot less pressure than doing it like month to month. But in terms of and if you're talking about how much if he like would get involved with the DCU Wonder Woman, I mean, maybe as a story consultant, but it's not necessarily like he would write it. That's the thing. Part of that double-edged sword is that the movies at times can inspire the comics also. Yeah, but again, it gets into the point where I don't think they're going to have him be involved in the movies, because they are. I get the feeling that they know that run is not beloved, and it's like they really can't. And when that much money is at risk, they can't adapt something so crazy. Why is King writing Diana when he clearly is not interested in the world? Because he wants to be the writer that wrote all 3 Trinity members. It's for his own ego, but Battle Goon. That's really all it is with Tom King, no matter what. That's why he keeps telling people that he knows so much about comics. And I go, shut up, bro. You don't know anything about at least Wonder Woman's comics. I'm fairly certain he doesn't know anything about, because he has not demonstrated that he knows a lot about Wonder Woman's world and such. So that's where I'm like, that's where I'm at in terms of like that position. It's like, if you know so much about Wonder Woman's world, how come like every single issue you put out, you contradict it? This is a nightmare made by Scarecrow. King writes all the Trinity. Yeah, but at least with like some of the books, you can take them as Elseworlds. Would you like it if they told one of his original comic story in the movie? Do you mean which original? Do you mean the because they're not going to make her be immortal. I highly doubt they're going to make her be like ancient. But if you're talking about the Perez origin, yes, I would like that. But I would say I think we're beyond origin movies for like a lot of these characters. So maybe they shouldn't do that. I mean, Wonder Woman's the one where maybe you should, or at least reference it offhandedly, so you can establish, is this the Clay origin? Is this the Zeus origin? But I think they're going to do Clay, but we'll see. Tom is not interested in any character he writes, just right. So yeah, that is true, Brandon. And I was listening to a podcast, a YouTuber covers comics, JDA, and one of the things that he said is that Tom King is, as far as he thinks, Tom King is on his way out from DC Comics and is going more into the movie side, and that's kind of why he's getting so involved with the movies. And we'll start to see him, because DC has started to, as far as I think, getting like the message that he's not the big like seller that he thinks he is. What are the odds that like Gunn will let I highly doubt that, Dave. I only put it this way: would it surprise me? No. But do I think that's happening? I think it's still a low percentage chance. So let's see like who the writer is. I mean, if it's, I would take Gail Simone over Tom King. Let me put it to you that way. I feel like King basically just looked up wiki stuff on Wonder Woman Warped. Yeah, exactly. Or really, so what King does, and he has been very open about this, he just has a bunch of story ideas on a document in his computer and just forces in whatever like character he's assigned to write. Like, I need a drunk pirate girl. Oh, I'm assigned to write Supergirl. Let's just force her into that. And that's kind of what he does with like a lot of this. But let me put it to you this way. So the next issue is coming out. Now, here's the interesting thing, and I was talking to Britt about this when we talked about on Super Wonder this week. I wonder, I worry, no, he's not going to do that. I mean, the very first word, no, they're not going to do the World War II thing. What I think what they're going to do, I mean, I was talking to Britt about this. If you look at his Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman book that came out, no one on Twitter was talking about it. Rightly so. But I'm like, that is deafening. The fact that no one even talked about it, it just came out and went away. So that's where I'm like, let me put it this way, if no one keeps talking about Trinity and his Wonder Woman book keeps cratering like it is, he will not make it to even 50 issues, I think. Do you think a story like The Witching Hour could translate to the big screen or League of One? League of One can, for sure, because you can label it as a Justice League movie. That can be the Justice League movie, because what that does is you get people on board because Justice League, because still there are some people that will shake you on Wonder Woman. Then what you do is you use that to set up the DCU Wonder Woman, and if it's successful and people really gravitate to the character, then you can go to like a Wonder Woman solo movie. Plus, if there's a movie that like features other characters but is focused on Wonder Woman, a storyline, League of One is pretty much the best one. Or if you want her to be like, I would have no problem with them doing the Justice League Dark and having her lead it. That would actually be really cool and really cool idea to do. Is there a way for the writers to make Steve Trevor likable? Don't do what Perez did, and don't make him a love interest, and do not focus on him. Let me put it this way. If anyone says that they self-identify with Steve Trevor, they don't get to write Wonder Woman. That's it. That's my thing. Honestly, I was when Britt and I were recording Super Wonder, I told her, I think we should start gatekeeping creatives now. I really do. Falcon says sales of Wonder Woman or as small as Mouse Man. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the book is currently in the 71st place. Now that could go lower with this next one, but I'm telling you that's not going to work. I just shed a tear when I realized that. Yeah, I know the Mr. Miracle animated show. When you realize that that's going to be based on his skewed version of it, that's just going to be an adaptation of his book. I'm like, oh no. So we could have had a really dope like New Gods movie, or actually, you know, it's kind of funny. This will be the second time he would be involved in the writing of a New Gods movie, because when he was writing the one with Duvernay, he was in charge of that, which I'm glad that got canceled. I want more JLA stories based on Wonder Woman myth. Yeah, you could do that. I've long said what DC should do is do a story where the Greek gods go to war with the Justice League because they're jealous of like the love and adoration that the League gets, that they used to get. So they're like, you have new gods? Well, new gods. So we're going to go ahead and like take over and like reclaim our position. Who do you think should be the main villain in the Wonder Woman movie? I would go with like Veronica Cale is the first option, but you can have her be manipulated by Cersei, if you will. So DCU New Gods will be crap. If it's being written by Tom King, chances are, unless you want Tom King, that's like, unless you like stories where the New Gods are suicidal. I think many JLA stories could be based on Cersei, Greek gods, adjudicator. Yeah, exactly. Because when you think about it again, the Justice League are kind of the new versions of the gods. In fact, Wizard Magazine did kind of like a story on that, and Britt and I did like an episode comparing the JLA to the Greek gods, and that's kind of what they kind of stand in for. So it's the potential is there for a really dope story. Plus, that could honestly be an entire comic event right there. But again, DC's allergic to good ideas, so I'm just saying. Plus, that could be a Wonder Woman event in the Justice League book. That's what you could really do, because that way you could really up the opinion. A Superman with a new 52-ish Cosmic Kingdom Come logo, Wonder Woman announced. In 2 years, are we getting Clark and Diana as a couple in the future film? Now, we can. Here's the thing. What people forget is that just because he's with Lois now in the movie doesn't mean he'll stay with Lois. That's the key thing. And Gunn has said that the New 52 got him back into reading regular comics. Does this guarantee that he'll do that? No. Is the door open? I think so. And honestly, that would be kind of cool if we got that in live action. Watch all the Clovis fans spontaneously explode because they're like, oh my gosh, he's adapting Super Wonder and not Clovis. And I go, yeah, because Super Wonder actually sells. And no matter what anyone tells you, a good portion of the general audience already thinks Superman's with Wonder Woman, or at least is in favor of it. So that's kind of the way that is going to like go in terms of a direction. It feels like Jack Kirby and Grant Morrison are the only writers who understood what the new gods are. Yeah, exactly. And the thing about Tom King is he's been very open about this. He is a Marvel writer that writes DC characters because he likes to deconstruct them. And I'm like, bro, here's the thing about deconstruction that you are incapable of doing. You have to build these characters back up. That's what a lot of these deconstructivist writers tend to do, is that they tend to just tear down these characters because that's the easiest thing to do, but they don't want to put the work in building them back up. Because that's what Zack Snyder did. He basically broke down who Superman is, but then he built him back up over the course of like the end of BVS and then Zack Snyder's Justice League. So he kind of did that. But no, a lot of these writers are incapable of doing that, which it's sad because that's a great way to get people to understand who at the core these characters are. But as far as the new gods, he keeps wanting to like make these characters like his thing. And I get it, it became a meme, but Darkseid eating from a veggie tray is a stupid idea. I don't think Tom King is about deconstructing. I think he's about everyone's broken like me. Yeah, exactly. And then he will break down characters that are like him. Like even in Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman, when he and I hope you got a spoiler alert. I'm going to spoil it. He basically hints that Diana's alive in this future now, so he abandoned that plot. And then it's like that she's apparently a deadbeat mom. She's so depressed that Steve is dead that she's like completely abandoned her daughter. And I go, bro, if your mission, as you stated, is to make people like Wonder Woman, you are a failure as a writer. That's what you are. I cannot overstate that he honestly, in terms of Wonder Woman writers, I think that he will stand as the worst modern Wonder Woman writer of all time. Modern. I said modern. Like from post-crisis and on, he will be known as the worst. Because even people that don't read the book are like, yeah, I've heard it's horrible. Tom King makes any female character nasty and just unlikable. He thinks it's empowerment. Yeah, like look at Trinity. And that's why DC put him on Wonder Woman, because of like Supergirl being adapted. But what DC forgot is that Supergirl, before like it was announced as a DCU movie, I got news for you. Supergirl was in the dollar bin. That's how empowered that book was. It was in the dollar bin. And for those that don't know, the dollar bin is where stores go to just practically give away the books that aren't selling. So I'm like, at a certain point, you gotta think maybe this guy doesn't understand these characters. There really ought to be a sales threshold that once you stay below that for a certain amount of time, DC fires you. There's got to be that. There's a reason why I don't think they've given him an exclusive contract at DC. Probably because they're like, we need to find a way to get rid of him. But it's like, even with the Wonder Woman run, if you look at it, it's very like isolated from the main line. And my thinking for that is DC's probably like, let's let him tell his story, and then let's just retcon out what we need to. Dollar bin is where you'll find most of the new Ashes X-Men. Yeah, exactly. And what a crappy like start to the X-Men. But still, it's like that's what you get, because none of his books are really that popular. It seems he truly made Diana a horrible mom. Trinity worships Steve as her daddy, and think, yeah, exactly. That is like one of the worst things that you could ever do. Watch, if he makes it where Diana's the one that made that statue of like her on top of that, I will throw a gasket, because it's like, again, all that this run is literally just look how awesome Steve Trevor is. It's not about look at how awesome Diana is. It's about Steve Trevor. And I'm like, if you want to do that, leave the book, write a Steve Trevor book. Because you know what? Because you're in the CIA, you could probably write a very authentic Steve Trevor story. But no, he won't, because he wants the ego of writing Wonder Woman. And I got news for you, dude. Again, you are gonna write the Wonder Woman run that everyone pretends doesn't exist. Like, for instance, what's probably gonna happen is if you look at I guarantee you, in about a year or so after he leaves the book, the fan base is gonna be like, remember when Tom King wrote Wonder Woman? Yeah, okay. Julian says, whenever they kill off Steve Trevor, why do they make it impossible for Wonder Woman to move on without him? I don't know, Julian. That's a question that I've long had, because contrary to a popular belief, Diana is not like dependent on Steve. Well, here's the thing. Here's how you know that King does not read Steve Trevor. Steve was dating another person and was like not, and Diana did not have romantic feelings on him. Literally the run before his. So that's how I know he doesn't read Wonder Woman. I think King does not understand DC, but I think he also has issues with powerful women. His Wonder Woman comes off as sexist to me, needing to depower Wonder Woman, make her rude, and have her beaten by a weak man. Yeah, exactly. All the above, Battlegoon. All of the above. That's all it is. That is a fantastic way of summarizing it. I wonder if Tom knew Diane and Steve weren't together before he randomly brought them together and just kills them. I don't think he knew, because I think well, here's the thing, Brandon. That implies that he actually cares. That's the key thing. Does he care? No. Actually, if they made a Steve, I've long said what they should do is separate Steve from Diana and put him on a book with like Sergeant Rock's kid, like make a Man of War book, and then just do that. That would be really cool. Maybe Steve Trevor should be given his own hero identity so he won't be so connected to one was lore. Well, what you do, Dave, I've long said what they should do is take him, Rick Flag, a lot of these standard soldiers in DC, and put them on a book together and have them do like counterterrorism stuff or like military stuff in a world with superheroes. That's a great story that you can tell, and then you can slowly build up Steve Trevor. But the problem is King is not capable of doing that, as we have seen. And in terms of DCU Wonder Woman, I don't think they'll put Steve with Diana, because that was like the main criticism of like the 2017 movie and 1984 is her relationship with Steve. Because if you take that out, you're good. DC Studios needs a strong casting for Wonder Woman. Who are you picking? Jessica Green is one. I've seen people say Arja Arjona, but I'm like, I mean, it's an option, but I think people are going too far off of looks and not an acting ability. My option, I'm going to pick this. Hang on. My chosen of cast is this individual right here. Hang on. Let me show you this. All right, so this is who I would cast as Wonder Woman, and it is Melisandre. What's her last name? It is Mahout. She voiced Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so she could do like the Greek accent I think Diana should have. I see Steve as a male military lowest for Wonder Woman, but I do think Steve can work as a love interest for Wonder Woman, but Diana's mission comes first. I disagree, Battlegoon. He doesn't work as a love interest, because here's the thing about Steve. He doesn't even work he is a plot device to get her off the island in her origin. That's what he is. As soon as she leaves that island, his usefulness with her goes to zero. That's really not working. They could, that's my point, Dave. That's what they could do. Wonder Woman is too soon, but so is Batman. Yeah, I know. By what's up, CJH? Good to see you, brother. The problem comes with DC trying to build Diana around Steve. That's true. That is, but see, here's my thing. Because that is the default, I say do the post-crisis Wonder Woman option, which is have him be like a father/brother figure for her instead of a love interest, and don't give her a love interest. There you go. That way you still include him, and he still plays a role, but he's not detracting from Wonder Woman, if you will. I'm trying to think of the right word. It just hope Steve's ass won't come back anytime soon, especially after revealing the Trinity book. Oh, and Steve was somehow able to take the Fates hostage. I know. It's so much that like Tom King wants to worship Steve Trevor, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has a Steve Trevor statue in his home, or like he custom made it. They need a Greek actress. Yes, exactly. That's my thing. Because I'm like, if Wonder Woman is coming from the Mediterranean area, because that's roughly where Themyscira was, I'm like, yeah, that works. It's the same thing as like why Gal Gadot worked, because it's like the accent at least worked. And that's the thing. That's why I will always be grateful for like Gal Gadot, because she showed that you should have like an accent for Wonder Woman, because it doesn't make sense for her to have an American accent if she comes from the Mediterranean. That doesn't work. Do you think it'd be a good idea for Diana to become a full-fledged goddess? No, not really. I mean, she can be involved with the Greek gods, but I don't think that. I mean, maybe like really down the line in terms of like Wonder Woman's arc, but maybe for right now, no, I would say. Margaret Qualley, maybe. Battlegoon says, some stories I've read with Steve have given him value and he functions as a military or government contact, but do think his thematic value is that he chases his dreams to help others, sort of like how Lois for Soup shows Superman that people can be kind. Yeah, but here's the thing. Lois doesn't even do that, Battlegoon, because guess what? He was raised by the Kents. The Kents showed him that humans can be kind. That's my other thing on that, is that everything Lois supposedly does for Superman has already been done by other people. But that's a discussion for another stream. I do think that although I have liked Steve for Diana, I do feel like he should be a small part. Yeah, and that's the problem. And this is the biggest like what is when King himself said that like too many Wonder Woman writers have focused on her love interest or her villains. And what does he do? What does he do? He focuses on the love interest, extremely love interest. So I'm like, it's because the love interest, as he has said, Steve Trevor is his self-insertion. So I'm like, so does that mean you want to punch your wife then? Because, or like, does that mean that you want your daughter to punch your wife because of Trinity punching Diana, or like Diana punching Hippolyta? Because if so, what does that say about his home life? I don't understand that. The general audience are used to Gal, but no, I know that, but I'm just saying what Gal showed is that the advantage of Diana having an accent. I understand that 100%. You're 100% right. Steve is a plot device, and King went right for the cheap prop. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. That's what it is. Let's be real. King Steve is a way for him to control Diana, stroke his ego, and date Wonder Woman. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what that is. That's pretty much what it is, and it's what he does all the time, because he always has like the stronger wife. Essentially, he wants to take care of him. In many ways, Tom King is a beta male, and that's basically what he is. If anyone needs to come back real soon, it's no, yes, bring Hippolyta back. I agree with you, NJ. It is stupid that they killed her off for her to become a god from Mary Marvel. Honestly, I would just replace it. Have like Hera become the H in Shazam for Mary Marvel. Then you're good to go. Like, no, and I'm not saying like take the crown away from Nubia, because I know that's what DC would do. I'm like, to your point, NJ, I think your idea is a fantastic idea. Have Hippolyta live with Diana in Man's World and like learn more about Man's World. That's a fantastic idea. Will you do videos with Teladia soon? I do videos with him all the time. It's just currently our schedules are like really busy, because again, he's in the UK, so we have that time difference. But yeah, we do videos every time we can, 100%. But so what other questions do you guys have about Wonder Woman? Give me about anything about the DCU Wonder Woman, because there's a lot that we can talk about that I think really would help. Let's see what we got here. Do you prefer cutting planner type cheetahs or feral cheetahs? Both are great. I personally prefer like probably feral cheetah, because that's more of like the cheetah I read in like Justice League by Jeff Johns. I kind of like that, but I like the more intelligent cheetah as well. It's either one's fine with me. Do you think we get Nightwing or Dick Grayson as Robin in flashbacks? I think Nightwing is going to be like the modern day character, and then maybe we'll get like flashbacks to him as Robin. Do you think Paradise Lost is still happening? What I think is happening, because what a lot of people don't know is that about all of the projects pretty much that were announced a couple of years ago when he announced the slate for Gods and Monsters were carryovers from the old regime. And that's why a lot of them are getting canceled and replaced. What I think is the Wonder Woman movie is probably going to replace Paradise Lost, or what they could do if they were smart is keep Paradise Lost as a show and make that or just reformat that into a show just about the Amazons. You could do all that stuff and kind of like NJ, kind of like make that like Sensation, essentially the TV show Sensation Comics, and have it show like a lot of Wonder Woman's world and let Diana be the movie star, for lack of a better term. Can a good writer make even lesser Wonder Woman villains like Mouseman, Blue Snowman, Paperman to great? Yes, yeah, exactly. That is a fantastic idea. That you can definitely do that. A better writer can. The problem is there's not a lot of writers that want to do that because too many writers want to invent their characters. But I'm like, you don't need to do that. But let's see. Do you have a favorite character in the Wonder Woman lore? Well, Diana, obviously, but in Wonder Woman's lore, I would have to say Hippolyta, Nubia, Donna, Artemis for sure. I love Artemis. She is so badass. There's that. Dark Omancer says we need a better physical specimen to represent the Amazon princess of an anorexic swimsuit model. Well, if you mean Gal Gadot, she bulked up for the role, so there is that. I mean, just because someone is cast, they may be a little slender, doesn't mean they won't bulk up for the role. So I think that's the first thing. But I'm fine with her being at least a little bit more fit, like an Olympic athlete, not too jacked, obviously, but like. Again, like an Olympic athlete, because again, Amazons are warriors as well as like diplomats. So you do want that. CJ says, I think Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and anything that did well previously will be pushed to make room for Superman and Batman. Anything that did well previously will be pushed to make. You mean like they'll push like Wonder Woman and Aquaman along with Superman and Batman? I think that too. One thing with Wonder Woman I want, which is too much to ask, is to have DC balance the magic ancient myth with modern villains. No, that's not too much to ask. They can definitely do that. It just depends on like what the pitch is, what the writer is, because a good writer can make anything work. So that's not too much to ask. Gal was also very tall. We need someone as tall for Wonder Woman. I would say so. It will put my cards on the table. I like Jack, mostly Wonder Woman types, but I don't think that will easy. It won't translate well for live action. That's the thing. That's the other thing about like the armor versus the bikini costume. The bikini costume, like the more fabric suit that she kind of wears, that won't translate well to live action. That'll lead to the actress being hella sexualized. They even barely use Mary Marvel, if at all, specifically after Shazam book got canceled. Plus, Wade has retconned Mary to have the same gods as Billy when Diana said she has the wisdom of Solomon. Yeah, so there is kind of that. So that's very interesting, and I didn't know about that. So they could just take it away and just stop. Like, don't do that. I think Teen Titans will be a priority as well. Yeah, I mean, they're already like making a Teen Titans movie, so it's not like that won't happen. I can definitely agree with you on that. Darkseid is joining the DCU. Do you think it's Snyder's Darkseid, or will they go with a comic accurate blue? I mean, I think if Darkseid's joining, because I'm not sure if he's doing it yet, or at least I wouldn't use Darkseid. And what's up, Cameron? I would honestly say either one's fine with me, but I would say don't go with like the Tunic Darkseid, because that won't translate well. So maybe Darkseid killed. I don't think they should kill off the DCEU, because that will be seen as disrespectful by a lot of fans, and that will turn the toxic Snyder fans already more toxic. So do not do that. Just leave it the way it is as a separate universe that you could return to if you want to. If you don't want to, fine, but just leave it. The movie won't be out until probably 2027, so I see a ton of changes for this movie. Frankly, I wouldn't be upset if it's inspired by Absolute Wonder Woman. That would be pretty cool. I would be fine with that. I've seen some artists who draw Wonder Woman very muscular. I mean, not really jacked. Like, don't make her like a ridiculous bodybuilder jack, but you can make her like very fit. Like, I'm gonna give you guys a cover that I think Wonder Woman covers that I think works pretty well for a like Wonder Woman's musculature. So hang on, let me do this. This one, I think, if you want to have like a muscular Wonder Woman, this is what I think would work. All right, hang on. This one right here is roughly that. I think that would actually work really well. Let's see. Yeah, he's using Darkseid in the new cartoon. Yeah, that's true, but I would go with the Snyder Darkseid. I don't think the tunic one's going to translate. I prefer her costume where it's more traditional Greek Roman armor looking plus a cape. Yeah, me too. I actually, Dark Manta, that's a good point. Yes, do that. I would love for her to have a cape. And what's up, Britt? And since Britt's here, I'm going to do this.
He's back.
I worry about Gunn using Darkseid. He's already made some big villains into people who could beat by the Suicide Squad and Creature Commandos. Yeah, I am very hesitant about that. So all we know about the movie, it's still in the planning stage. All we know is that's being written. We don't even know who's writing it. So there is that concern. But in terms of like what they could do, the potential is nearly endless for this. Mr. Miracle and choose Darkseid. Yeah. The smart thing would be for Darkseid to look exactly like Snyder's Darkseid. It's the same avatar in every multiverse. Yeah, they could do that, and or they could make it where like they could give him a slightly different look, but still take the overall aesthetic. They don't even have to use the same voice actor, even though I would love if they did that. Tony Daniel gave the best description that you have a tennis player's build. Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I'd be okay with them killing off DCU characters because they were setting that up anyway. No, they weren't going to. That's not what they were setting up. CJ, they were setting up a crisis movie, or like even the DCEU that wouldn't end with everyone dying. So that's not what that is kind of there. And well, for a muscular Greek Diana, yeah. Again, a tennis player's build works. Hey, what's up, Britt? And do you like the idea of Darkseid being a sim for Diana? Nope. And that was a stupid decision in that DCAU comic book. That was an idea I thought. Well, I'm like, that's dumb. Do you think whoever plays Diana should also know how to fight? They'll train her as well, so it's not like she has to be like a fighter. It would help, but I don't think they really need to. When was Darkseid sim for Diana? It was in the Justice League Infinity comic. That was a sequel to Justice League Unlimited. No, he did, because it ends with Barry going back in time and reversing all that, stopping Darkseid from taking control of Superman. Then they all like fight, and then it would have ended with Flashpoint. It's not like Cavill kills everyone. That's not the way the movies were going to end, like at all. But yeah, so that's kind of what I would go with. But I do agree. I like the idea of Diana with a cape because that's one of the cool, like really cool costumes. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I further proof that Tim only sees Diana as a love interest, a prize for me. Exactly. That is 100% why. I rewatched a lot of Justice League Unlimited, like particularly the Wonder Woman episodes. She does have some good episodes. It's just the problem is there's too many episodes where she's simping for Batman per se, and I'm like, okay, why are you doing this? Like, why? Why are you pain? Oh, why are you giving me pain like this? That doesn't help. But what else do you guys have to ask? But luckily, so let me see this. I want to see this. Absolute Wonder Woman release date. So Absolute Wonder Woman. I want to see when the date for the next issue of Absolute Wonder Woman is. Is it launching the same day? Release date issue. Which issue is the new one? Is that issue 9? Hang on. I'm trying to check one little thing here. Let me see. All right, Absolute Wonder Woman issue 9. Let me see this. It's coming out. Release date. Let me see this. It's coming out in August. It's going on. I mean, maybe that's a glitch because I don't think it's coming out in August. Yeah, it's coming out 6/25. So, yeah, exactly. That's weird. Yeah, Justice League Infinity was a disappointment. Yeah, exactly. How can Giganta be made interesting? I feel like she is not nearly as relevant in Wonder Woman fans as Cersei. Well, but you can make there's plenty of different ways you can make it. If I had to make Giganta interesting, you can like make it where like she is a project by Veronica Cale and hang on. If I had to make you could make her like a super soldier by Veronica Cale and base everything around Veronica Cale and then Cersei. And that's you could do that. When I read about Gigant, I get the vibe that Giganta Diana hang out like old friends who make her not only you can make her a Wonder Woman supporting character because they did do that in the Simone run where she is like helping Diana like through her breakup, if you will, which I think that's interesting. I think Batgirl might get reworked to fit with the DCU. They're not going to use Batgirl. They're not going to do They're not keeping Batgirl at all. Do you really think Zaslav is going to salvage that movie when he canned it? It's not happening. So, like the casting might be saved. No, they're not doing that. Realistically, do you think we'll get Hippolyta back during the King or after? After definitely, because King won't care enough to do that. They should adapt the Absolute comics as an Elseworld. Yes, that would be really dope. That'd be really dope. I think I hope this movie does is give Diane's cast a time to shine, because when I ask fans about them, they should not just go Steve, Hippolyta, Artemis, Donna. That should not. Yeah, they need to let more of Diana's cast like out to play, for lack of a better term. How do you feel about Wonder Woman fighting magical villains of the JLA like Felix Faust? Yeah, that's great. Give her more of like the big enemies. They're not again, CJH. They cancel with what Zaslav did with that movie. They're not going to keep anything from it. They are not. That's not the way these studios think. I love when they tell stories based on her Greek myth roots. Yes, definitely roll with that. That is a fantastic like well of ideas that you can take from Wonder Woman. Yeah, but backwards a tax write-off. I don't think they can legally release the film because of that, or like use anything from it. I wouldn't use anything from something that you use as a tax write-off. Like, do not under any circumstances. Plus, again, it's like you then have to worry about casting Batman, so you really can't do that. I wouldn't if Zaslav is going to make a big enough deal to completely cancel the movie when it was almost done. You shouldn't do that. You really shouldn't. What else do you guys think? Was playing Hades recently, I think, and made me think I would love a Wonder Woman story of her having to escape Hades or Elysium after dying. That would be pretty cool. Make that like an Elseworlds animated movie. Like, don't make that like the DCU Wonder Woman movie. But yes, that would be a really cool project for them to do, because that would be like an absolutely, pun intended, really original idea. And they kind of could do that for Absolute Wonder Woman, because it looks like that's kind of what they were doing with the whole arena and stuff. Teen Titans introducing Deathstroke. Yeah, of course, they can definitely do that. I would say if they're going to do a Teen Titans movie and it's using the original like cartoon cast, yeah, do like Judas Contract or something like that. Definitely do that. That's honestly a really good one. Let's see. Oh, but I just really hope they respect your power level and be on par with Cal as the big guns. Yes, they should do that. Hope they include Johnny and Cass in the Wonder Woman movie. They should. They should 100%. Like, make it like do what Hush did for Batman and like show like take people on a tour of Wonder Woman's world, and then you could really roll with that. That could be part of probably Arkham vs. Wonder Woman game if they were to continue that universe. Yeah, that would be really cool. Like, she has to escape from Tartarus. That would be dope. How do you feel about Dr. Poison and Absolute Wonder Woman? What an interesting way to reintroduce to like make a like absolute version of a Wonder Woman villain. That is really like really like such a cool way to reinvent a character. By TMO, we're talking about, I'm answering questions about what I want for the DCU Wonder Woman movie that got announced. So we're just going over like what we think that universe should look like. So let me know what other things you guys would like to see in the Wonder Woman things. Because I'm saying that right now, like, Rucka is my like dream to use for a Wonder Woman basis, because there was a lot in this run particularly that you could see like the love he had for the character, and I really dig that. Have you seen Absolute? Yeah, exactly. He is basically a kaiju, which I'm like, that is dope. With Cassie, why did they change her in the comics from the scrappy tomboy who fought to chase her dreams and showing have her powers only Zeus' daughter? I don't know. I should look that up. It's probably because I don't think they changed it from Zeus's daughter. They probably like revealed it, but I don't know, because that's a really good question. But it's like, it's not a question that I think is like, it wasn't a creative decision that I think was altogether horrible. But I see what you're saying there with that. It is kind of like, why did you do that? But I don't know. We'll see. What other questions do you guys got for me about Wonder Woman and the DCU? Because there's like a lot that they need to get right. If they want to make a new Wonder Woman movie now, what's the ideal fan casting of the new actress? Or maybe let me take an older one. I mean, they could definitely use like, a lot of the fan castings are based upon looks purely and not really acting ability. So I go, no, that's not what you want to do. I would honestly just go with I would honestly just go with like the voice actress for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because she can like do the Greek accent and then do like the inflections of Diane and stuff. So I think that'd be really cool. They went from having her an interesting backstory to being an empowered fangirl who chose herself to basically, you were destined to have power by lineage. Yeah, I kind of get that. It cut out the tension between Cassie and Diana. Okay, I kind of see where you're going for with that. Do you think the Steve would get worse issue by issue at this point? Please say no. Do I think the Steve worship is going to get worse? Yeah, I do. Honestly, NJ, I'm sorry, I do think it's going to get worse as long as King is on the book, because again, he sees Steve as like his like self-insertion character, and he's going to milk that for all that it's worth. In live action, do they go for the invisible jet? Yeah, I would say so. Go with that, because again, this is a universe where they're clearly going more in the direction of the fantastical, and they're really like using that. And I think that it would be kind of cool to really weigh in on that, because that way you differentiate itself from like the stuff that came before. Do you think DCU is one who will embrace the goofier, dated aspects of the character? Not necessarily the bondage stuff, but yeah, I think they kind of will. Do you think Gal Gadot looks good on Wonder Woman in the frame, but she's weak as an actress? I think she's good as Wonder Woman in both ways. I think she gets a little too much hate as Wonder Woman, and I think she did a pretty decent job as Wonder Woman. I'm gonna die on that hill. I think she looked the part and she acted the part on the screen. That's all I'm gonna say on that. And that's just, again, my opinion. If you guys have a difference of opinion, that's totally fair. You guys are more than welcome to. What else do you guys think? To be honest, I felt Gal was okay, but not the best actress for Wonder Woman, and was let down by weak scripts. I think the only weak script that she had was for 1984, which that was straight up a really bad thing. Kal-El, no. A lot of actors have bad line readings. It's fine. I was fine with that. Do you think the Flash movie will be canon to the DCU eventually? I mean, if they ever want to cross over with the DCEU, sure, but not necessarily right now. How do you like Wonder Woman 2011? That's a movie that kind of grew on me because I said this on the episode of Super Wonder that's going to come out on Monday, so tomorrow, is after watching Bloodlines, that movie looks stupendous because still, yeah, it has like Diana being like a sim. Well, actually, it doesn't have Diana being a sim for Steve. Yes, it has Steve objectifying her, but it's less severe and it's less like Diana's like abasing herself for Steve. That's kind of interesting. Not Wonder Woman related, but it's embarrassing that Jim Lee's late on Hush too. You had to know that was going to happen, dude. You had to know that was going to happen because it's Jim Lee and it's like Hush 2. You got to know that's going to happen. They must keep her ability to fly ability, man. Removing that is like removing Steam and T-Vision. Yeah, keep her with the ability to fly. And like, there's a lot that you can go with that. And use the explanation with the invisible jet that it's like, I need that if I have passengers and cargo. Gal Gadot is great as Wonder Woman. She did come off as someone who spoke English as a second language, and that was fitting for the character. Yeah, exactly. By the way, I just want to play this right now.
Hereby complete the mission of the Amazons by ridding this world of you forever.
That's great. I love that clip. That's my favorite clip that I made about Trinity. I love that. I'm going to get the behind the scenes book for Wonder Woman. The only creative choice that I don't like in the movie is killing off the gods. But besides that, they did a great job adapting Wonder Woman. I liked Wonder Woman 2009 as a whole, but I felt like Ares wasn't as dangerous as he could be, and Steve was simplified. And at least Steve was not someone I felt Diana would fall in love with. Yeah. I agree on that one. You really enjoy that, don't you, man? Yes, exactly. There's so many clips that I made because of Trinity. And the thing is, I'm going to give you guys a preview. This is what I'm going to play and like upload to my Twitter and stuff when King leaves Wonder Woman. Are you ready?
Excuse me, but I think this is yours.
That's what I'm going to play when he leaves the book, because that's going to be really fun. Because I'm going to be like, hey, take your demon spawn with you. That's what I think. What type of villains for Wonder Woman are you worried about so that they won't be made to play? Cersei for one, because I've seen that before on like with Creature Commandos, which overall I like Creature Commandos, but there's some stuff in there that I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Like, why did you make Cersei so weak? But I don't know. There's like a lot that they can like do right on that I'm concerned that they'll do something wrong. Yes. Thank you. I have tons of clips. Actually, you guys want to see another one? Here's another one that I have. And then I also have, this one's my masterpiece. So even Hulk doesn't like Trinity. Damn, you make it dream the Black Mercy. That's too good for Trinity. Black Mercy makes you think life is good. Exactly. That's kind of was my point on that. And again, our demon creature, and particularly seeing like the Tom King Mongol go, oh, that's the best. I love that. I like Bloodlines too. Bloodlines is okay. It's just really gets into the Wonder Woman rebirth plot lines that I absolutely hated. And Britt and I will talk about that later. Goddesses and Hermes should be heavily involved in Wonder Woman's lore. They should show it they give the powers of Clay. Yes, exactly. I do definitely agree with that. They should go with the Clay origin at this point, particularly since, again, as opposed to like with the Snyderverse, which was going for a more grounded take on these characters, they should go with the more fantastical takes where you do like the Clay origin. Is anyone going to use Trinity again after the book fails and King leaves? It depends. If the book continues to flop, this way, I doubt someone will use this, because there's enough people and like even like the reviewers on like AIPT and stuff are saying that this is like the Trinity book is legit offensive as a Wonder Woman fan. And there's any number. I don't think that they're gonna reuse her, because here's the thing. Because the advantage that King had before the Trinity book came out is that no one had seen like the adult Trinity in like a really long time. That's the advantage. But then, literally in the first issue, the adult B Trinity that no one likes comes up and is her regular B self. I'm using B, but imagine female dog. But I like to keep this channel PG-13, so Britt and I have to invent curse words. But she's the B that no one likes, and then you just double down on it. I go, no one wants that. Bloodlines is okay, but I felt like they needed a better media showing for Villainy Inc. Yeah, exactly. Also, that brings me to the question, how fantastic should DCU be? I think that they should go straight up and let me put it this way. Depends on how Superman is, because if Superman does really well, 100% go all in on the fantastical element. Well, like if there is like legs on this, go fantastical, because that way you 100% differentiate yourself from the Snyderverse. It feels like we're stuck with Trinity for years. No. John Kent had fans. Trinity has 0 fans. I'm sorry. That's the difference, Dave. Because I have seen almost 0 people talk positively about Trinity. Mostly it's about the Super Sons in her book, or it's about like it's the Tom King shills. I have not the very fact that literally no one was talking about Trinity like when the book came out like last Wednesday is deafening for DC. Did I miss something? Do you feel bad about Trinity because you became a Wonder Woman? Because Wonder Woman fan is a bad idea. No, I don't think Wonder Woman as the mom is a bad idea. It's just making it so Wonder Woman's whole existence is based upon the father is a stupid idea. That's what I think. Trinity is offensive, and that Wonder Woman was reduced to merely competing with Trinity. Yes, exactly. I do agree with you on that. Batman should be identical to that insurance commercial ad. Maybe. I could see Rucka Adams or Kelly Thompson could save Trinity despite the damage. They are good and talented enough to do that. Yes, they can, but I also wonder, will DC just throw the character away? Because remember, Adams has his own pitch, and Kelly Thompson very much emphasizes the feminist nature of the character. And I feel like DC is not going to want to go to the effort of retconning the origin to get rid of Steve. They'll just like get rid of the character, which honestly, I'm like, yeah, get rid of her. She's not needed. And honestly, she is a hindrance to Wonder Woman, a hindrance to the character. At least in my opinion. If you guys have your own opinion, that's totally fine. Obviously, I support people having a difference of opinion. And Rucka, I don't think will use it. What Rucka will probably do is get rid of Trinity and bring in like the daughter that he wanted to have in the Black Label sequel to Historia. I don't think he's gonna want to like use her. Or what they'll probably do is like get rid of her and put her on like another plane like they did with Jason. I normally don't condone gatekeeping, but if you're telling me Diana needs Steve because of her connection to humanity and Trinity has lost, I feel like an exception to me. Yeah, I'm all for gatekeeping creatives. Like tell people you're not allowed to write for this character ever again. I feel like I want to see the story of the Greek gods controlling the world like a Greek tragedy and Diana having to fight that. Zeus tosses lightning, Aphrodite making people fall in love. That works. Need Diana to not be sidelined as a third wheel for the world's finest and not as a mouthpiece. Yep, exactly. I think a lot of blame for Wonder Woman should be weighed on the editors. Who is her editor-in-chief now? It's Brittany Halsinger, I think her name is. But remember, she's the editor that literally does nothing. She doesn't do anything. Like, case in point, a lot of the stuff that King has done should be checked. But because she's close friends with King and has been friends with him even with Supergirl, she's not checking him because he has that friend connection. She's not going to check her friend and say, a friend has a stupid idea. That's what it is. NJ says, I really love Diana having her own daughter with zero influence from Steve. Yep, they could do that. Sometimes gatekeeping is a good way to it's just how we do it, i.e. King of Wonder Woman. Yes, exactly. Use the hashtag and spell out Wonder Woman first off. And make sure you use the hashtag on everything every time you talk about Diana's like book under Tom King, use the hashtag. How is a woman in charge of Wonder Woman and let's retreat like this? That's why I say when people say that like only women should write Wonder Woman, and I know Britt and I have talked about this, it doesn't necessarily always lead to the best Wonder Woman stories. Plus, then we miss out on like Perez and all that stuff. But still, you guys know what I'm saying on that. What else do you guys think? Brandon says, can we please get Grail on the DC? Yes, Grail would be a fantastic character. I've long said that DC Comics in general, not just the movies, should turn Grail into Wonder Woman's reverse Flash, and that she is the dark reflection of Diana. And that would really position her as like a really cool thing to use. King's Wonder Woman has fallen apart more than Angleman's Psyche. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one. That's a really good joke. That's a really good joke. In fact, I'll give you this. Let's see. What's a good meme thing for you? You know what? I'll give you. Where is it? I'm trying to find the clips that I had. I'll give you this one. And who was the editor after Greg Rucka 2017 before King? It was terrible. Same thing, probably. I have no idea. The editor needs to change too because this is just unacceptable. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now she's also in charge of the Titans. I'm like, no, she doesn't do her job. I see Grail as what Diana would be if she were fully loyal to the old gods. Yeah, exactly. You could do that as a great story. I hope you saw the Gail Simone Wonder Woman comment how awful it was. However, a common Gail. Yes, I know. I did. That's why, again, I'm like, if okay, so you want Wonder Woman to only be written by women, that doesn't necessarily guarantee a good writer. And while I enjoy parts of the Gail Simone Wonder Woman run, there is a lot in there that I'm like, that doesn't work. Like, it's bad when you have like when you have Gail saying the Wonder Woman should throw her maxi pad at a villain. Anytime, brother. I can see them doing Super Wonder since they usually do, a couple start together and meet, don't end up together. Also, the Kingdom Come symbol, I think, is a hint at a future arc. Yeah, they could do that, Dark Sister. They definitely can. That's my point. I'm like, the potential is there. Is it guaranteed they'll go in that direction? Of course, no. But there is, like, look this way. The crumbs are there. You just have to see if it leads to that. Common Gail L. Did Gail actually say something? No. What that is like some Wonder Woman fans say that only women should write Wonder Woman, and I go, that doesn't lead to what you think it does, because then we get, because you have a woman editor, then you have Gail Simone. Doesn't necessarily guarantee a really good Wonder Woman like portrayal, if you will. What's your next scheduled podcast topics? I'll talk about that at the end of the show. But in terms of like, so tomorrow we're releasing Super Wonder, where Britt and I rant about the DC AMU, like all the like new 52E movies and how they royally screwed themselves by forcing in the post-crisis stuff of Death of Superman, Reign of Superman and such. And then Wonder Woman Wednesday, I think I'm talking about more of the Wonder Woman writers that I love. Under Two Capes, I think we may discuss like, I'm still thinking about what I want to do for Under Two Capes and maybe Wonder Woman related. We'll see about that. And then in terms of like movie night, I got to talk to JJheat. But Gail also said Cyclops uses heat rays. Yes, he doesn't. He essentially shoots a concussive blast that knocks people back, but it's not heat vision. It's because it's the lazy way of looking at it, like Superman's heat vision. That's what it is. The best Wonder Woman was written by men. Look about it this way. Perez. That's what everyone looks at and what I look at as the ideal Wonder Woman run. The first Rucka run is pretty good. The first, the Jimenez run is pretty good. So far, it's three men. As like some of the greatest Wonder Woman moments ever that people reference, that Britt and I reference. I got news for you. It doesn't necessarily mean that. I think the biggest issues facing Diana paradoxically is that she is seen by some as only a feminist hero, not as... Yes, that's the thing. Too many writers are too like... That's where you get into the wokeness territory, because here's the thing about that. It's like, that's the common pitfall where you see like Wonder Woman and then you want to like make it super like men suck. And that's why Wonder Woman 1984 failed in large part. But if you look at Wonder Woman 1, no, they still had Wonder Woman be powerful and like elite and like help people, but she still needed the help of like Steve and the guys. That's the balance you need. You don't need like it in either one direction, because either one direction is not good, but you do need a balance. Unfortunately, not too many writers are good enough to have that balance. you think Yara's a bad character because all the stories written about her were thin and bad? I think it's a right. That's a character I think is more salvageable than Trinity. I'll give you that. I hope they can add Kelly Thompson as an amazing Wonder Woman writer one day. Yes, 100%. She should take over for King. Like, absolute. If Absolute Wonder Woman is any indicator on how she writes Wonder Woman, and it's like a top-selling book for like every month, except for last month, but that's just because it was released on the last of the month. Use her. James Tinian, yeah, exactly. James Tinian as well. Man, so what do you guys talk about? That only women should write Wonder Woman. That doesn't work. Balagoon says, I think a big issue is that some people either see are either women sucks or Wonder Woman must be weak, or men sucks or Wonder Woman was supposed to put them in their place. Yeah, it's like true feminism is about equality between men and women, not like one dominating the other, what people forget. Thompson is on her way to that status for sure. Oh, she will definitely go down as like one of the best Wonder Woman writers like ever. And what does that say? That the Elseworld Wonder Woman from Hell writer is like seen as like one of the best Wonder Woman, because again, Thompson has said that she was at first going to approach it as Absolute Wonder Woman is just female Kratos. That was the original plan. However, guess what happened? When she was thinking through it, she's like, I can't do this. And then she did the just Diana in this world. And look what happened. Will you do will you have a topic for the podcast? The son of Donna Troy, a Hawkman level madhouse. That's actually a good idea. I'll write that down. That's a great idea for like a story talking about Donna Troy and stuff. There's a lot that we can go with this. There's a lot of great podcast topics you guys are giving me. So keep it coming. Keep it coming. But what else so what other questions do you guys have in terms of Wonder Woman? Let's see. What other like questions? What other writers do you think? What other like stories do you think should be used for the DCU? What other DCU questions do you guys have about Wonder Woman? It could be anything that you guys would like to see. Okay, so what has happened to Donna Troy's backstory? I thought that Donna was like normal, raised in our world, more pacifist, like not multiverse histories in a person. I have no idea. That's a really great question, Battlegoon, because they tried to rectify it in Rebirth by saying that like she was like created by Wonder Woman, but she was created by the Amazons to take out Wonder Woman, but then Diana implanted false memories in her. I don't know. It's really stupid. I hope Kelly Thompson takes over as the main Wonder Woman writer after King leaves. That would be a dream come true. Yes, and Matea De Luis as the artist, that would be dope. I'm going to pull up some of his art because it is solid. What do you think of the Wonder Girls in the comics? I think that they are fantastic, like, characters that should be more, like, more utilized, I think. Like here is like Matea De Luis's Absolute Wonder Woman art. Like here, and let's see, what's another good image here? You also have, this is my favorite page right here. And then you have this page right here. There's like, he really nails like the epic, like cinematic take on like Wonder Woman. They need to put the lasso of truth undone and make sense of her history. They probably will. And knowing like the way they've started to clean up some of the lore with the Mark Waid history of the DC Universe book, they very well could do that and just decide that like this is the history of all the characters. We're done. We're moving on. That's what they definitely can do. How do you think DCU, Wonder Woman, DCU, Superman should meet? I would say have them meet as like Clark Kent and Diana Prince first. And then it could be like they like each other and stuff. And like they're they're like friendly to each other, and then later on, like a villain invades, and the Superman and Wonder Woman both respond to the exact same incident, and then like they're like, "It's you!" And then it's like Wonder Woman sees through the Clark Kent disguise immediately, and she's like, "You, you," and then that's how like you lead to like the like friendship that's like central to Wonder Woman comics. What do you make of Azraella's take? As an else, let's put it this way: it's not as bad as people say it is. As someone that actually read the whole thing on the omnibus recently, is it the best take on Wonder Woman? No, but is it like this horrible take on the characters, like a crime that some people take it as? Absolutely not. And so it's 100% not. And anyone that tells you that is wrong. It's definitely not like that, like horrible take on the character. Like, I'm sorry, no. What obscure Wonder Woman villains do you want to get more spotlight? Dr. Psycho, Silver Swan, honestly, Giganta a little bit. She still is kind of obscure. I would say Hecate. Honestly, Grail. Grail I would count. That would work. Should DCU as Wonder Woman debut in World War II in modern day? Modern day. Modern day. Definitely modern day. I do not want her to be like thousands of years old when she shows up. Do not do that. If you want to have a Wonder Woman in World War II, have Hippolyta be Wonder Woman first. Why is Cyborg Girl a Wonder Woman villain? Oh, you mean Silver Swan? Yeah, she feels more like a suddenly evil female cyborg. No, it's more like she is like Wonder Woman's like sister figure and stuff. So it's more on that. It's more on that. By the way, here's a cool question for you. Iconic DC characters have a family and the authors revel in them, but Wonder Woman somehow has so hard time with her family interaction. Is this a problem with her concept or something else? I think that a lot of writers tend to think that because it works for Batman, it'll work for Wonder Woman, hence where you have like everyone has a family, or like Trinity. And I go, no, dude, do not stop giving Wonder Woman the sloppy seconds of Batman, Superman. Excuse me. Can they use time travel to have Diana in World War II? Nope, I'm not with that. No, Cyborg Girl's a villain. Really? Let me see that. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that was a villain. Wow. Yeah, I say just make her a cyborg villain. Hey, what's up, RJ? How you doing, dude? Need to use Cersei, Gigantic, Grail more in Wonder Woman arcs. I want either of them. Can have a big role in Wonder Woman. The wider DCU as a major threat. Yeah, exactly. I'm a fan of Hayden Sherman's cool work, but Matea's god tier. How can we get Matea back doing a full-time run? If maybe Kelly Thompson comes back and makes and is the main Wonder Woman writer, they could throw him on there, because that would be like the best creative team ever on Wonder Woman. Queen Clea can work. I like Queen Clea. If Gun Superman flops, what does the future of Wonder Woman films look like? If Gun Superman flops, it's just gonna be Batman movies. That's it. It's just gonna be Batman movies. That is 100% it. I hope DCU portrays the Amazons properly, because I hate when writers make the Amazons misandrous. Because of this, people think the Amazons are horrible people. Yeah, I really hope so. It depends on the writer, but I feel like they're going to make the Amazons more like open to mankind, probably. I would say so. Can you explain Queen Atomia to me? Okay, hang on. Let's do this together, because I don't know who that is. Queen Atomia says here she's the ruler of Atom World. When Wonder Woman captured a U-235 Atom for study without knowing that it was her planet, she designed her revenge against the Amazons in the modern world. So she lives on an atom? That's weird. I've never heard of this character. That is really, really weird. That's really weird. Yeah, Brit's right. DCU Wonder Woman will be modern day, particularly because, again, it's like even the modern day, the comics are getting rid of the Wonder Woman, like Diana was Wonder Woman in World War II, which I'm like, yes, please take that away. That is stupid. That was the dumbest attempt at synergy ever. I'm going to tell you that right there. And that was one of the things I didn't like about Snyder's Wonder Woman. I'm going to say that. Donna should co-lead the Titans with Nightwing. Hopefully they're going to they're saved by Wonder Woman's origin. Yeah, that'll be fun. Can you explain Queen Clea as well? Okay, so let me do this. Queen Clea. Okay, I have never heard of this character, but so she was created by Marston, a queen of a crumbling Atlantean outpost named Venturia. Queen Clea enslaved the men of her realm and amused herself by putting many to death in gladiatorial combat. So she's kind of like the extremist Amazons. That's actually kind of cool. You could definitely use that. Most likely after King, Wonder Woman will be written by Adams. I consider him to be the best DC author. Yeah, I'm fine with that too. It's like, and plus, here's the thing. Adams took Wally West after King royally screwed him and repaired that damage perfectly. So if there's one writer that I could say, and by the way, Adams has a pitch for Wonder Woman and he wants to write her. Even Vendetti, I think, would be a good Wonder Woman writer, but no, Adams would be God tier, and he would fix a lot of the damage. I don't know if he would use Trinity, but he could fix a lot of that damage. I also felt like Queen Atomia and her subjects were like the species of evil atoms, but then I read she was an allegory for nukes, and I was confused. Yeah, me too. That is really confusing. What do you think of Diana's civilian job in the DCU? I think that she should be a diplomat, like an ambassador and all that stuff. Taika was like in the Lowe's one, because it adds a relatable touch to her. I disagree. I think it makes more sense of her trying to bring man's world together with the Amazons, because that's like what she was sent from the island to do. So if you have her be like the diplomat, or even like a teacher, a professor, that also works. But I'm not really into her being like a fast food restaurant person. Daniel Warren Johnson could write a good ongoing Wonder Woman. Yeah, I'd say so. Do you think they should go with the short or skirt for her DCU suit? I think they could go with the Golden Age skirt thing, or like maybe just give her pants. But they shouldn't go like super like sexual with it, because that's just going to lead to the actress being like sexualized. Veronica Cale was a dark time for me in Wonder Woman comics. Does Gunn bring her to the movies such a Lex bootleg? They probably I like put it this way. They probably will use her for the Wonder Woman villain at some point. I would say so. That's one that I think would work. And I like Cale as Lex, who can work with Diana because she is not motivated entirely by envy, but wanted to end magic due to ideology and losing her daughter to the gods. Yeah, that is a really compelling idea for the story, and you can use Diana to like go on like a thing about like why the gods have like hurt people, but it's like I am not them or something like that. That's actually a really cool way that you can do that. You can arrange that. If Starfire can get a leotard for the DCU, her swimsuit could work fine. No, again, they're probably not going to do that, because they can't sexualize the actress, because that animated show for Starfire is not going to be in the DCU. So no, they're not going to do that. But they already have Amanda Waller. Yeah. It's the same hatred of heroes vibe. I mean, maybe, but it's specifically for like Wonder Woman, because it's not like, I like this way. They can do like a lot to make her more like unique if the writer cares enough about the character. That was in the wreck when the guns literally took her daughter's face and left her daughter alive but unable to do anything. Yeah, that's really compelling. Giganta that doesn't deserve to be an obscure. She is iconic, so I hope someone at DC makes her important, or maybe they can have her be good and team up with Wonder Woman. Yeah, that would be really cool. If like they take some of the villains that have a history of teaming up with Wonder Woman, and then like using her as like a teammate for Wonder Woman, that would be honestly really, really, really dope. I think that's an option that they definitely should go with. Waller hates superheroes in general and wants control. Kayla's lashing out due to trauma. Yeah, they emphasize like the trauma part and make it different. That's the way that they can make it work really well, I think. Do you think the third act with Ares in the first one was weak? A little bit. Was it possible to get by with the Marvel fights at the end and have it just be that there was no Ares and that people were held by their own hatred, and that and not some god, because she defeated Ares and World War I ended, but there was still World War II. I would say so. I would say that they could have gotten away with making it where like it's just people being like bad, and then Steve shows her that like humanity can be good, if you will. I would say so. How would you use Dr. Cyber? I hate that Absolute Power did not use her, but used Failsafe for the Brainiac Queen. Yeah, I mean, let me get a little more information on Dr. Cyber, because I'm not as familiar with her. Oh, I see. She was the one that like from Wonder Woman Bloodlines, and I'm like, yeah, you could use that where like she is like takes over Silver Swan's implants and turns her into like an agent against Diana. That'd be cool. Cersei should definitely be the major villain of Chapter 1. Would go a long way to redeem her character in Creature Commandos and make her a formidable threat. Yeah, because Cersei can. Do you like Jessica Green as Wonder Woman? I personally like is she or Frida Gustafsson. She could do it really well. I think that she could really do it. Should Donna and Cassie be established? Yes, I think that a lot of the family should be already established, because that way you don't have to wait years for that to happen, because that's not always a guarantee that we'll get to like have Diana, Donna, and Cassie, which is what the Rucker run does really well, because it has them show up and they're like in cameos, but then it's like you can like you can like just have them show up as a cameo to establish that they exist in this universe, and then just continue on with the story. There's like a lot that you can do to introduce them, but not like overcrowd the movie, if you will. Should the DCU Diana be taller than Clark, like in New Frontier? That could be fun. That could be really funny. I think that would be kind of interesting, where Diana's having a stare down with someone, and then she's like looking down at them. It's a literal stare down. That could actually be really funny. I would like that. How did Blue Snowman go from a war profiting, selling their self-made ice tech, to igniting and igniting war for profit, to a joke or showing off her dad's tech? Or is Mr. Blizzard a better one? Well, remember, is that Blue Snowman was also went to being a joke in the Pride book. So it's like there's a lot of villains that kind of hurt. Walker's husband and dog were killed by Candyman, which is why she hates him. Yeah. Do you think the actor Steve Trevor is cool? Did he approach the character well? Yeah, exactly. In the first movie, yes. Again, a lot of that first movie was really good. It's just when you got to Wonder Woman 2, where it was like, no, that was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. It's because, again, Patty Jenkins thought of Steve Trevor as the self-insert for her father, who was a fighter pilot. That's why she went like so hard on like emphasizing Steve. And Patty Jenkins was very open about this. So again, it was more of the self-insertion. So just think about it that way. It's like if it's self-insertion, Steve sucks. If not, then Steve is just like redundant. Would you rather have redundant or bad? So do we get Batman being worshipped by Zeus? Oh, that was horrible. I'm like, what the hell, man? Zeus would never say that. And why would Diana call Zeus? Diana is reverent for the gods, but she doesn't act reverent. In fact, she even says she doesn't care about blasphemy. And I go, that's not Diana at all. Do you prefer Cersei as the main Wonder Woman villain in the first movie, or I would have her. Kale is the immediate villain, but then it's revealed that Cersei is pulling her strings the entire time. That's what I would do if I were like writing the Wonder Woman movie, and make it so like again, Cersei is like the overall threat of gods and monsters. I think that'd be really cool. The Center from New Frontier would be a great villain in the DCU and a good reason for the Justice League. Yeah, you could do that. If the Justice League movie is going to be just New Frontier pretty much, but in the modern day, yeah, you could kind of do that. I would say do that. Then you establish the League. That's definitely a way to go with that. That I think would be honestly a pretty decent introduction to the Justice League. Digital Omancer, so self-inserting yourself. Let someone else insert you. Yeah, exactly. Do you have any friends who are interested in comics abroad? Well, besides Latin America, I have friends in the UK. I have friends in South Africa, as a matter of fact, that watch the show. So all over the world, as a matter of fact. And there's like a lot of what I get here. There's a great scene I feel summed up Diana's view on the Greek gods in Simone. When Zeus told all the Amazons to bow, she left rather than bow, but told Canary it was hard, but she had to put her morals first. Yes. And Battle Goon, I will give you another one. Yes. That is 100% awesome. That is 100% a really great moment for Wonder Woman in that like world. That worked perfectly. I'm totally down with that. That 100% summarized Diana's relationship to the gods really well, like remarkably well. See, all this. What about Elizabeth Debicki as Wonder Woman? Hang on, Elizabeth Debicki. No, I don't see it. That one I don't see at all. No, I really don't. I wonder what other female heroes Diana should team up with in DCU. Black Canary, Mira. There's Hawkgirl. There you go. Obviously the Wonder Girls. There's also Supergirl. There's also what other ones that could they do? That would be really fun. I also had the idea that they make Silver Swan a hero, but that's just me. How high of a chance do you think Gunn's not sequel will be an introduction for Wonder Woman? I think that's pretty likely. I feel like his like sequel will be kind of World's Finest. It'll kind of be like a Trinity movie. I feel like that'll be really cool, and you can call it a Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and then that leads into the Wonder Woman movie. Have you talked to any of the Wonder Woman authors at Comic-Cons or anyone else? If so, what questions were asked? I have chatted with Azzarello, and I brought up about how much I actually enjoyed a lot of his Wonder Woman run. I talked to David Finch, who drew the Wonder Woman book for New 52 after Azzarello, and I talked to him about Super Wonder and Wonder Bat. He's more on Super Wonder side. Haha. Oh yeah, Zatanna's a good one. Power Girl, yes. Again, Simone actually wrote the Power Girl and Black Canary team up really well. I really enjoyed that one. But there's a lot that you can do with the female characters. I've long said what would be great is if they made a book that's like a Justice League, but just female characters. Because they had a concept like a long time ago where it was like different Justice League teams, because it was like a Elseworlds thing. But they had one that was like called Justice League Amazons, where it was literally just all the female characters on a Justice League. And I go, that's what would be a cool idea for a book. How would Power Girl work in James Gunn's in the DCU without Earth 2? You just make her like go with the DCAU where she's Galatea, but call her Power Girl. That's kind of what you could go with to lessen the multiversal portions of the character, or you could just go Earth 2 and just say she came from an alternate reality. There's any number of ways you could do with that. There's any number of ways you could roll with that. Lots of sticky pages for a book like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what you could do. And Jay says, Wonder Woman Zatanna is always epic too. Or you guys should do an episode about which female characters should be a world finest. We are going to do that, NJ. So we have episodes like lined up, but we are going to definitely do that. That's a fantastic idea for an episode. May even make that a live one so we can interact with you guys. But Britt, write that down. but yeah, so that's definitely what we're gonna do. Have you talked to Jeff Jones? Nope. I want to. I would love to also talk to like Greg Rucka or Gail Simone on it and get my omnibuy signed, then talk to them about their approaches to Wonder Woman. I want to get Michael Conrad on the show to talk about his run, because I think that the Clunrad run is going to be seen as underrated considering what followed it. Since it looks like Ultraman has long hair and Superman is he hell. That's my thinking. Where if you look at it, it even kind of has white skin. So that's like what I am thinking, and I'm like, that is for the I do think that probably is going to be like that is most likely going to be Hal. If I had to guess, I would say. We know Ultraman is a clone instead of on Earth 3, so there's already a precedent for cloning Supergirl. Yeah, exactly. Either way, that actually works really well. Other questions? Aren't all the authors present at Comic-Con? Not all of them. Not all of them. I wish they were, because then I'd talk to all of them and get all my stuff signed and stuff. Are you considering having Kelly Thompson? I would love to get Kelly Thompson on the show. I want to. I'll DM her or shoot her an email and say, hey, I very much focus on Wonder Woman. I'd love to have you on. And I'll beg her, please take over the main Wonder Woman book. Would you prefer a more serious, lighthearted mix or both of her? Mix, because you can have some humor with Wonder Woman. You don't want it to be like too intense. Like that's what like Joss Whedon's Wonder Woman was going to be. But you do definitely want to have a mix in terms of like the tone of the character. At least I think so. At least I think. Let's see. What else? What else do you guys want to talk about before we wrap up? Too much here. Yeah, that's exactly my point, Random Op 4. That's the way you get like Wonder Woman 1984. So I'm like, you guys got to be very careful about how you do this, but how you approach that, because that could go like sideways real fast, like insanely fast. Diana having dry humor, that would be great. That would definitely work. I would love for her to have like a dry-ish humor, because that really works for her. At least I think. And would Thompson say that thank you very much for bringing alcoholism back to Captain Marvel? I don't think so. Should DCU Wonder Woman have a home city or be a globetrotting? Globetrotting, I would say, would be really good for Wonder Woman. That's what I would say. I would say globetrotting. They have to be a very dangerous tightrope with the tone. I agree. Yeah, there's this. You really have to approach this very carefully, because if you butcher it, then to your point, we get 1984, and no one wants that for sure. No one definitely wants that. Do you read comics all the time? Well, yeah, of course I do. I do. I read comics like practically every day. In fact, I have like a stack of comics that I read each month and then review to all the channel members, as a matter of fact. Gateway City should be in the DCU and be your home base. Yeah, I to a degree, I think if Batman and Superman are going to have their home cities, I do think Wonder Woman should have like a place where she like hangs out and helps and like, I guess, secures the area, if you will, for lack of a better term. I think that'd be really good. I think that'd be really good. Yeah, they have birds of prey. It's terrible. That's enough for me. Yeah. How much money do you spend on comics a month? Probably like $300, I would say. I would say 300 a month, about that much, because I get like all of my all of my polls, and then I get like a bunch of graphic novels that I review each month. My backlog of comics is shameful, absolutely shameful. We all have that, Dave. We all have that backlog that keeps getting higher and higher and higher, and I'm like, oh no. It just keeps getting more and more and more and more. That's always what gets it. Is your co-host from England? Yeah. Teladia is in the UK. That is correct. Yes, Teladia is in the UK. Brits in Texas. Robert is in Michigan. And JJheat's in Georgia. And I'm in Florida. Do you think King could make Mouseman interesting? No, I don't, because I feel like he's going to make Mouseman interesting at the detriment of Diana. That's what he's going to do. If you have to denigrate a character to make them look good, that's when I have the issue. So again, no, I don't think he can do it right. I really, really don't. Could he prove me wrong? Sure, but will he? Probably not. Probably, most likely not. I love Wonder Woman in War of Atlantis. She was ruthless and look was awesome. You mean in Throne of Atlantis? That one was great. What's your opinion on e-comics like DC Universe Infinite, Marvel Unlimited? It has its place. Like, I use that sometimes to sample a series and decide if I want to add that to my pull list, or if I want to get like a particular storyline for my shelf, or it's like if I'm discussing a story on here and I want to like share visuals of the storyline, I'll just pull it up on those things. So they definitely have like a major like use that I use. They definitely have like a very much like it's very useful. Let me put it to you that way. It's very useful. Yeah, there's like a lot of good. There's a lot of good ways to get comics in people's hands, and that kind of adds up to that. That's where I think that digital comics kind of works, because if you don't have a comic book shop near you, but you want to get your comics, digital is the way to go. The digital is definitely the way to go. Is it my preferred way of reading comics? No, I prefer actually having the books, obviously, and over there is like a stack of comic boxes. But it's like, but if you don't have access to a comic book shop or a place where you can order books, which I think most people have access to Amazon, so there's that. But if for some reason you don't, that's where digital comes in, and that's the role that I think it plays in like the comic books like thing. Digital comics, do you have? Yeah, if you don't have space or stores, yeah, exactly. Did the League of comic book sites have a problem today? Because it doesn't load images of comics for me. It's only a blue screen. I don't know. By the way, if you guys want to add me on League of Comic Geeks, you can. Let me do that. You can add me, and my username is I buy digital. I give up on floppies unless it's keys. Yeah, that's true. You can find me at Comics League JT. So if you find me on Comics League JT, you can send me a friend request, and I'll definitely add you guys. I think Mouseman by King is literally just going to be, I am small, metaphorically and literally, embarrassed for a big woman. I lash out and become big threat. King says, "Tell me I am big." Yeah, exactly. Do you need to have some kind of special education to be a comic book author? Not really. I mean, there's no like definitive like way on how to write a script. It's like, as long as it's communicated well for your artist, I think it should be fine. But we'll see. King's insecurities reminds me of Trixie and Fairly Odd Parents screaming in one episode over another. Tell me I'm pretty. Yeah. Digital should be used to bring in new readers. DC should have a selection of free comics on the platforms like Max, Twitch, TikTok, and give packs. Yeah, exactly. That's what they definitely should do. 78 more issues for the King run. Nope. He's not getting 100 issues. the sales are too crappy for him to get 100 issues. That unless the sales dramatically improve, it's not happening. The only reason why he got close to that on Batman is because Batman has a built-in fan base where they will keep selling no matter what. But when you go with like a book like when you go with like Wonder Woman and his sales on Wonder Woman, that is definitely not going to work. That does not, like, the sales do not show a healthy thing. Remember, he was kicked off Batman because Hulk was outselling his stuff. Why does DC let King write so many stories over and over through the lens of his insecurities? I honestly don't know. That's a good question. It seems Mouseman has Ed and Emily hostage. Ed should kick his ass, man. What the hell? Or how about Emily, because she's an Amazon that fought Diana? So I don't know what King is talking about. I'd love to see Jeremy Adams on Wonder Woman. Yes, because Green Lantern, Aquaman, literally everything that man touches is gold. Is gold. Because he knows what the fans want to see. And here's the important thing. He wants to write Wonder Woman. He actually has a pitch for Wonder Woman. He's just like, put me in, coach. Yet he loves comics. Adams is the writer that if they announce him as the new Wonder Woman writer, I would say chances are we're going to actually get a really dope story. So that's really what I think will, honestly, again, that gets to, I think he will do for Wonder Woman what he did for Flash and fix her like opinion. What happened with the whole Amazon deportation plotline? Apparently, like, that got resolved off panel. I don't know, but it's really stupid. There's a conspiracy theory that King is allowed to write so many comics because of CIA connection. I almost believe it. No, he got the job at DC because his mom was a high-end WB executive. That's what it is. He's a Nepo baby. That's what he is. He's a Nepo baby who also takes credit for other people's work, like when he took credit for Darkseid Is. Yes, he did. And he doesn't think that people can look that up. I'm still hoping for a revival of Sensation Comics. I'm not losing hope. We must get expanded our lore. Yes. And honestly, Absolute Wonder Woman could lead to that. Absolute could. When I read current comics from new authors, I notice that from the old authors have, I literally start when modern authors have a pace from Twitter. More statements and whining. Yeah, that is true to a degree. Do you read indie comics? If so, what's your favorite? Ever indie comics as guests, aside from Nick? I've had plenty of indie. I've had indie writers on before. Like, I guess Chuck Jackson count. He's been on. Mike Barron. I've had a bunch of different people. Indie comics I read would be like Witchblade, Spawn, King Spawn, Scorched, Screecher, obviously. In terms of like Invincible, I read a lot of indie comics. I read. Kind of, I guess. And Battlegoon, man, you are 3 for 3, Battlegoon. Yeah, if the Sovereign is the DCU villain, I riot. Me too, dude. But they're not going to go with that. They're not going to go with that. They'd be stupid to go with that. If they go with that, they deserve to fall. That's what I'm going to tell you there. That's what I'm going to tell you right there. Let's hope if King is more involved in the movies and TV, he writes less comics, if not completely. Yeah, because if he gets more involved in that, guess what? Chuck Dixon is cooking his Ripperverse stuff. Yeah, exactly. Wonder Woman against the Darkseid's female Furies would be interesting. Yeah, that's a group of female villains that would be great for Wonder Woman. But DC so far has not really weighed in on that, which they should. They definitely should. Yeah, anytime, man. Am I hearing things, or did you say Mike Barron or among your indie authors? Yes, I've had him on the show before. He was on like a while back, as a matter of fact. No one should be paying attention to writing gives like ripped. I mean, like this way, I don't agree with everything he says. I read his books because he delivers a product on time. That's what I do, and I've generally enjoyed pretty much what he puts out there. Doesn't mean I agree with everything he writes or says. Seeing Aquaman makes me think I want a story of Diana and Arthur teaming up against Queen Clear. Yeah, that would be dope as hell. That would definitely be really good. I would definitely agree with that. But what other questions you guys got for me? Let's see. Mike Barron is great. He edited a book that I'm funding on my comic. Yeah, he is a really a real like wealth of knowledge, particularly on like Punisher. Well, it should work because he wrote Punisher, but there you go. Tom showed us Sovereign killing Steve. They tried to have a small plot. Well, we didn't know if it happened. Yeah, exactly. I forgot all about the character Nubia, who the characters love her just because, although she sometimes becomes arrogant. It's not great. I mean, Nubia is really good. It's just you got to have the right writer on her. How exactly a joke? Old man like Sovereign knocked up a freaking Amazon. I don't know, but that would require Tom King to actually care about Wonder Woman and her lore, which he clearly doesn't. We've seen this many times. He doesn't care about the character. Yeah, that's really what you get with Tom King. Like we said before, he doesn't care about any of the characters that he writes. All he cares about is putting his own sick fetishes in the characters. That's all it is. That's literally all it is. Should he be allowed to have near total freedom like he apparently does? No. Arguably, he shouldn't be at DC anymore. That's what I'm going to say right there. He should not be allowed to write for DC Comics anymore. The man does not know how to write heroic characters, period. That's my opinion. But let's get those final questions in before we wrap up for the day. If Tom King is part of the DCU writing team, I'm really concerned with Wonder Woman movie. Yeah, I know. I don't think they'll have him be the writer for the Wonder Woman movie. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I really hope that they don't go with him writing a Wonder Woman movie because that would be catastrophic for the character. I like to think that they know that he is like that his run is not beloved by fans. It'd be one thing if George Perez were alive and they asked George Perez to write the Wonder Woman movie. That would be one thing. But there's no way they're going to have him be like the Wonder Woman writer. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do you think Wonder Woman will be part of the upcoming Marvel crossovers? I hope so. And then you could have Storm be there. Does Azzarello treat his Wonder Woman well, or does the true author consider his popular work to be nonsense? I like the way he did Wonder Woman in the new 52. I don't like all of his creative choices, but I do like it kind of. Let's say, are Atlantis descends of Poseidon? If so, one of them could chill with them, but not Justice League ring. I don't know. I don't think so, but that sounds like honestly a pretty dope story idea. That actually works. I think good deconstructions of Diana or the true Amazon and Hikatea. King can't deconstruct because he doesn't know the components in the first place. Yeah, it's like he's taking apart a sweater, or like he's taking apart a DVD player, but he doesn't know how to build a DVD player. I want a Wonder Woman Thor crossover more than Storm. That would be dope. You know what? That's actually a really good one. That's actually a really good idea for a crossover. How will the DCU Wonder Woman influence your comics in the future? I don't think so, because Gunn has very much been clear that this does not he doesn't want the movies to dictate what the comics do. So I don't think it would be too much like synergy. I hope Wonder War and Emily's plot device daughter is totally forgotten. It will. As soon as King leaves the book, there's no way they ever reference that, which in a way, what's probably going to happen is that they will get rid of King. He won't be running Wonder Woman. And then adult Trinity, kid Trinity. The only Trinity that they could keep around but probably won't is baby Trinity. That's it. Everything else, I do not see them keeping her around at all. At all. I do not see them keeping her around. That works as well. That works as well as a crossover. Wonder Woman, Storm and She-Hulk. That definitely works. But I think that I'm gonna wrap it up because I got my throat's getting kind of dry. I need to go grab some water. But It's a great Q&A. So as for Comics League content in the future, I think that tomorrow's we're going to be releasing Under Two Capes. And then not Under Two Capes, Super Wonder Legacy, where Britt and I talked about the DC AMU and we rant about how much it destroyed Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman Wednesday. I'm not sick, but it's just I've been talking for a while, so it's not like a sick thing. But as for like Wonder Woman Wednesday, I think we're doing more on the Wonder Woman writers that we enjoy, on like who wrote great Wonder Woman runs. And in terms of Under Two Capes, I think I'm gonna do something on something Wonder Woman related. I still have to like think through exactly what I want to do. Movie night, I gotta talk to JJheat about that. And then for Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are gonna compare Superman and Wonder Woman to Black Bolt and Medusa, the king and queen of the Marvel's Inhumans. So stay at work, everyone. Remember, Steve Trevor is Steve Never. He belongs like literally on the core of Pluto, or even whichever planet is beyond Pluto. Zois the Max about for life. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.